When I was a kid, I hung out a lot by default with this girl named Katie. I honestly didn't like Katie at all. She was dumber than a bag of hammers and annoyed me most of the time. But she and I were both outcasts, so we kinda had no choice but to befriend each other. Katie was always doing things that were marvels of stupidity. I am honestly amazed that she made it to adulthood, given how little regard she had for her own safety or other people's. She also lied all the time. The poor child was a real piece of work. When we were about 10 years old, we went out trick-or-treating together. We went by ourselves, as my neighborhood was generally pretty safe. And I, at least, was smart enough not to do anything spectacularly dangerous. So our parents were fine with us going out. Just the two of us, as long as we were back by 9. Everything was fine until we got to one particular house at the end of a long street. It didn't look stand out in any way, but there were no Halloween decorations of any kind, just a porch light on. We decided to try it for candy. There were no other kids around at the time, just us. A man in his 50s opened the door, and we said, "Trick or treat." He looked around for a moment, realized we had no parents with us, and said,
"Why don't the two of you come inside and show me a few tricks, and then we'll see about the treats."
Katie, dip that she was, immediately said, "Okay," and stepped through his doorway. I grabbed her and hauled her back out onto the porch, said, "No way, you creep," and dragged her away from the house. She protested the whole time, saying she thought he had good candy and even claiming, eventually, that she knew the man. That he was a personal friend of her family, so she knew he couldn't hurt us. Keep in mind, this was my neighborhood, not hers. So it wasn't likely that she or her family had any familiarity with this guy. I said, "If you know him, then what's his name?" She couldn't come up with anything, so I just rolled my eyes and kept dragging her back toward my house. The following year, she wanted to go trick-or-treating with me again, but I told her she was on her own. I wasn't going to be responsible for saving her from rape and or murder anymore. If she was too dense to avoid obvious peril, then that was on her, not me. Not exactly night shift, but as a bartender, I'm usually heading home around 2 to 4 a.m. On a slow Monday night, we were about to close the restaurant when a seemingly homeless woman walked into the bar. Working in a city, we're used to vagrants making their way into the bar, so kicking her out would be easy. My manager yelled to her, "Hey, sorry, we're closing up. We won't be able to serve you. You'll have to leave." She kept walking slowly and silently toward the bar, staring straight ahead with a blank face. As she walked closer, we realized she looked unusual for a homeless woman. Her skin was gray. I'd never seen a skin color like hers in my life. It wasn't dirty or old or tanned. It was a very light gray that was tight with almost no wrinkles. She also had a tattoo of 4 lines on her face. They all started at one point in the center of her chin, then continued down to her neck in a ray-like pattern. She also had no shoes on. Once she reached the bar, she went to pull out a chair when my manager yelled again, "Hey, we're closing up. Also, you can't be here without shoes on. You need to leave now." She continued to sit down. Then she turned her head slowly to me, locking eyes with me. She said, "I like you." At this point, my finger was on the bar panic button. Most bars have them so they can get immediate police response. Our bouncer finally made his way over and put his hand on her shoulder to ask her to leave. The minute he touched her, she broke out in this extremely loud, high-pitched maniac scream. It was like a scream out of a horror movie. What made it creepier, the whole time she was screaming, she was looking at me dead in the eye without blinking. She wasn't moving, so my bouncer went to forcibly remove her from the bar. I pushed the panic button and watched my bouncer pull away this woman as she was screaming uncontrollably, all while staring straight at me. The police came fairly quickly and took the woman away. To this day, that is the creepiest night I've ever had at work.